Supreme Court so that it doesn't actually eventually get struck down and made illegal? What's been going on there for the past decade?
So this was the previous New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case. As you can tell, they've been a busy organization with how, well, there's no other word, evil the state of New York has been. So yeah, the previous case that the Supreme Court agreed to take was on a prohibition on moving guns outside of the city of New York, right? That's kind of making it simple, but that's as complicated as it needs to be. It was an obviously bad law. And remember, this New York is one of the first states to actually practice in what we'd call modern gun control. So New York is, really long been a battleground for this type of stuff, such as the Sullivan Act, which was an act pretty much expressly designed to disarm Italian people. So what they had done with this previous New York State Rifle and Pistol case, the transporting one, after they realized the Supreme Court is going to take the case, after vigorously defending this law for about a decade, they just said, and then they were like, we got to get rid of this. So they worked, the mayor, the governor, the chief of police, all worked together to sign agreements, basically, and create a system to where this particular law could not be enforced again. And it was a concerted effort between all of these different state and city officials, specifically to create the legal result that the Supreme Court would have no choice but to moot the case.
Wow.
It's really disgusting, especially when you look that they were aggressively defending the law right up to the point the Supreme Court took the case.
So they institute it, they hide it, sort of tuck it underneath the bed, and then they bring it back out as soon as the pressure is off again?
Well, so if they were able to bring it back out, that was one of the things that would have defeated the mootness claim. So that's why they had actually passed some specific ordinance that would prevent bringing back that particular law.
Yeah.
So and that's that previous one. This is now on their general prohibition on concealed carry. And in a lot of ways, they're kind of worse off now, because if they lose this case, their whole, concealed carry system, it's gone, right? They're going to have to it's likely that they'll have to actually give people or respect people's right to keep and bear arms. Whereas previously, all that really would have happened was slapping down this particular law and then announcing a clearer standard. So it seems like they might have got a little more than they bargained for here.
Well, it seems long overdue. I mean, this is going to be a domino effect across the entire country if the Supreme Court actually does strike down New York's law. And then we could all find ourselves, I guess, state by state, looking at concealed carry laws being opened up. Is that pretty much what you're expecting to happen? And do you think the Supreme Court is going to go in favor of the plaintiff?
I do. The thing that I'm worried about is what standard they announce and how narrowly they draw it.
It's always
if they do the right thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if they do the right thing, it could mean, the next day, that's it. There's no more effective bans on carrying guns. But a lot of times what the Supreme Court does is they issue these, I like to call them tickets for this train on this platform on this day only, right to where the lower courts could kind of ignore it. So I'm seriously hoping that they just announce a clear standard for carry, which is what we desperately need, and a clear standard for evaluating Second Amendment cases so that we can just go out and respect people's rights finally.
I really, really hope they set a clear standard. And we do have a conservative majority in the Supreme Court, but as we've seen, Republicans and conservatives, they're not always consistent on the Second Amendment, especially when we saw former President Trump ban bump stocks and talk about red flag laws a lot. So I thought it was really interesting that you brought up how the Sullivan Act was basically targeted towards Italians. And that leads me to a really interesting intersection, because a similar thing happened in the state of California. The Mulford Act was basically, signed into law by Ronald Reagan with the support of the National Rifle Association to target the Black Panthers who were holding these armed protests in public. They weren't, killing politicians, they weren't terrorists, but that was basically the narrative at the time. So then Governor of California, Ronald Reagan, signs in this Mulford Act that basically did away with open carry in the state of California. And I think it just goes to show how a lot of these bills started off as anti-Black or anti-Italian or just anti-immigrant, anti-minority in general. And it kind of leads me to the discussion today that was basically popularized by Maj Touré, the founder of the Black Guns Matter movement, but that gun control is a symptom of systemic racism in many cases.